MaboTofu. It's a Chinese style dish. Japanese eat it a lot. It is it's a comfort food. Start with some ground pork. There's all sorts of variations of making this, and I'm going to make it from scratch, a way that I have seen. And so starting with ground pork, I'm going to just brown it off in our pot. It's a tofu dish. And in my version, I'm going to use eggplant also. So we start with pork, brown it off. You can see the temperature is very high. See how quickly the water is evaporating from the meat. Adding in some sliced onion, and we'll incorporate that thoroughly with the meat. We want to really coat those pieces of onion in oil and begin to break them down. We want them to sort of become translucent. All of the water evaporates out of them and they become sweeter in flavor. We've got garlic here and ginger. It's about 50-50. A little knob of ginger, fresh ginger, cut into slices, and then maybe 5 cloves of garlic sliced. We'll work that all into our mixture. The temperature of the pot is still almost full. I'd say it's 80% of full heat. You can kind of gauge that because it's a deep pot. So if you don't go full heat, you're not going to caramelize everything. It's going to weep out. The liquid's going to be pulled out of the meat, and you won't have a nice end result. These are shiitake mushrooms. They're also going to add a lot of flavor. Beyond this, I mean, this is where the flavor base comes from. We're going to add in the eggplants that you can see, also the tofu, a little bit of tomato, sake, and then we can add maybe some stock or just water, and then we'll thicken the dish, and that's going to be it. Serve it with white rice. It's an excellent accompaniment. Here is our eggplant. Another version of this dish that I've made a number of times is a tomato-based version. Very similar, no eggplant, not even any pork. You could make this a vegetarian dish, and it's also very excellent. We'll be releasing a short video on how to make that at some point in the near future. The eggplant, you really want to fold it in gently, in my opinion. I don't want to have bits and pieces of eggplant floating around. I want to keep those pieces that I have in there whole. We'll add just the juice from the tomato and a few tomatoes. I'm not adding a whole can. Basically going to add a tiny bit more flavor, add some acidity to the mixture, and we'll balance that out with the sake, also a little bit of sesame oil, which you will see towards the end. Just gently breaking these tomatoes up with my spoon and then folding them throughout the rest of the mixture. Any browning on the bottom, you see I'm working it off the bottom with my spoon. You could make this dish in a wok, and then you'd have the ability to, flip the mixture. But doing it in a pot like this, you have to really work your wooden spoon so that you don't burn it on the bottom. And anything that does stick on the bottom, you're going to incorporate throughout, and that's going to be the base of your flavor. So I'm constantly doing this, and this is very crucial in sauce making also. If you're making French sauces, as those sugars begin to brown on the bottom of the pot, you want to put them to good use, because that's where a lot of the excellent flavors are coming from. And it's not far from, or that stage is not too far from burning. So you constantly have to be on it, moving the stirring and scraping, if you will. Here's the sake, just a splash. We're talking probably 100 milliliters if you want to measure. It's about a $10 bottle of sake, and you don't need very much. Not going to go through very much whatsoever. The ground pork that we purchased was about 2 pounds worth, and the price of that is in and around $4. Pork is extraordinarily cheap at this point in time, so The eggplants are probably the most expensive thing in this dish, and the right time of the year you can find them inexpensive. Here's our sesame oil. You saw the tofu added, and the dish is just about complete. Green onion. You want to add this towards the very end. All green herbs, leafy green herbs, you want to add at the end of the cooking process, because much longer than that, they're going to overcook and they'll sort of start to brown and the flavor will be degraded somewhat. So you want to add these in towards the end of the cooking time. Anything like cilantro or basil, tarragon, in this case green onion, which is even a little bit heartier, you definitely want to add those things at the end. That's when they're going to have the optimal flavor. Here I'm grating potato. This is going to be what thickens the dish. You know, Chinese cooks, they may use cornstarch mixed with water. You could do that. I feel that potato is a healthier option, and I also believe that it's a thriftier option, especially if you grow the potatoes in your own garden. Very cheap compared to cornstarch, which has had to be processed far away and then driven to you. So fold that potato throughout, and the natural starch in the potato is going to thicken the mixture. I use potato starch, fresh potato starch, to thicken most sauces at home. Notice it's thickened right up. This is a tiny bit of chipotle. This is certainly not traditional, but a dish like this, it's nice to have a bit of heat. You could use any other chilies that you like, just to add heat if that's what you want, and it'll be quite balanced. Slightly sour with the tomato base, a little bit of sweetness, the sake, and also the sesame oil, and then a tiny bit of heat with the chipotle. It's a fantastic thrifty dish, a little more sophisticated than the norm. I highly advise you to try it out. Your family's going to love it, and you won't find it to be very difficult, and it's certainly thrifty. Very affordable, very tasty. Enjoy.